I have one more question
Okay.
um about this. Can the Niners as an organization, a coaching staff, and as a team, can they ingest a contract negotiation like this? Right? Debo's contract negotiation was contentious, but it fell on the backdrop of Kyle, right? Trent, his contract negotiation went down to the bitter end, but Kyle came in the 11th hour and put that fire out, right? Nick already had leverage, hands down, not only because of his cachet, but because of the season he had, quite frankly. He was the defensive
Hmm.
player of the year. The Niners knew they had to pay him. There's nothing you could do about that. Nick stayed quiet, right? Same thing with Fred. Down to the bitter end, kept his mouth shut, got his money. My thing is that the Niners don't do publicity. They don't do public. And I know this is the biggest lie of all time. Niners don't leak, but what we right? But what I do know is that this is a very tribal bunch where they're very much one note. They all have to be on the same page. They all have to feel a certain way about the team. And my my question about this is that um also if you think about it, the coaching staff in the front office, they kind of let their food touch. They're very much in the locker room, and so to speak, right? Like John Lynch is very much like gives pep talks, always giving anecdotal stories about his career to the team. John talks about stuff that he wants to happen with the team. That even at times, if John starts talking about how things are going on with the team, at times he will slip and get into his own personal opinion about what he thinks from a football perspective with the team, versus where most GMs will kind of not even touch that. They'll leave that to the coach. What I'm saying is that there's a good side to that, because then you can count on your GM to come in and give extra juice on certain parts of the season, or when you're dipping, or you can count on your head coach to be able to cross over the aisle into the financial side of things and be able to lend his hand. And that's all of the good stuff. But what happens when all of the people who have their quote unquote undesignated titles, where I'm the guy who smooths things over, and John's the guy who really is the pros guy who can really get eye to eye with the guys and let them know how pros are supposed to handle themselves. Well, what happens when everybody's ego is a little bruised, when you got BA saying, I don't care about any of you guys. I don't me and Kyle, we're not friends. That's number one. John, thanks, but Herm Edwards was my coach. I don't need somebody else coming in telling me how to be a pro or what to look at. Like, Debo, thanks. Guys, I love your team, but I got other teammates around the league that I've been cool with. Like, hey, for what it's worth, when I first came into this team, at my infancy, I showed what I can do with this team. I was marginalized into a role, and I feel like him being in that doghouse situation put himself in a position where he's like, okay, I'm gonna do this, but then I'm gonna do it your way. And when it's my time, I'm gonna gut you. I'm gonna gut you. And I feel like this is almost kind of like a revenge tour. Like, can the Niners ingest a negotiation like this and find a way to get this done? And the locker room is okay. They're like, everybody's fine.
Yeah, I think so. Um, Listen, I think from a player standpoint, they look at it and say, "Get your money. We're out of it." They always stay out of it. It's always player. You go get your money. It's your time. You figure it out. I think from that standpoint, everything will be fine. But it is clear that this one's different. I mean, how many other players have entered their negotiations, not only gone back and forth with the 49ers, had to meet personally with the 49ers, and then also watch their teammates jump the line and get paid,
That
and
you see
watch
Gambit's
them draft a
question.
player at your position. And so BA's looking at it and saying, okay, so you're willing. I mean, let's just look at it from his standpoint. You're willing to let me play on a fifth-year option.
Hmm.
You did shop me. You did look into Justin Jefferson. You're not meeting my demands as far as I want, and you
Hmm.
drafted two potential replacements. You went ahead and made CMC a priority when I've been here for months saying, "Where's my money?"
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of reasons for BA to look at it and say, even if I do want to be here and I do love this organization, they're treating me with a shrewd business sense. I have to treat this with a shrewd business sense. And you can understand why he would be taking things personally. The first question you asked me, you were talking about, is this BA not understanding what is happening here? How much of it is that? A lot of it is that. This is his first time negotiating an actual contract. This is his first time going through this process. And it's
Agreed.
great to watch your friends go through it, have your teammates say, hey, be calm, sit back, it'll be fine. We went through it. Don't make the same mistakes I did. But until you actually go through it, it's different. It is
Mhm.
different. I mean, I don't know how many times I've told my kids, "Hey, don't do this because of XYZ." They're like, "Yeah, yeah, got it, got it, got it." And then they have to go make their own mistake, do exactly what I told them not to do, figure out that the reason I told them not to do it is exactly why they shouldn't have, but they had to do it for themselves.
Yeah,
I
they had to
get
find
it.
out.
This is BA in his negotiations taking control of his career, knowing this might be the last time I really get paid in this league. The first time and the last time that I can work out my own deal. I'm taking full control of the situation and I'm putting myself first. It sounds selfish to the fans, I'm sure. A lot of people are like, just take the money. It's life changing. No, don't just take the money. This is your chance at generational wealth. Do what you need to do, BA. I'm always an advocate for the players. But then on the flip side, I'm an advocate for the organization as far
I'm
as
I'm I'm listening to you,
don't
Jess.
don't
It's
pay. Don't pay if you don't feel like it's worth it. Don't. I want
bro,
BA to get his money, but maybe get it somewhere else. That might
like
be the way this has to work out.
$26 million is still generational changing money, bro.
Listen, man. If your
Come on,
peer,
bro.
if you feel like you're worth something, then go get what you think you're worth.
That's why I think this is personal because somebody's not moving.
Let me ask you this,
Somebody's
coach.
not moving, Jesse.
I'm gonna ask you something.
Okay.
When you were 18, 20
Mhm.
years old,
Mhm.
did you have a dollar amount in mind of what you thought would be enough money to live on year to year?
Yes.
Okay. Has that changed as you've gotten older?
Yes.
Okay. Has that dollar amount gone up or down?
Up.
Way up, right?
Way up. Yeah.
And if you were to leave your job today, would you hit the open market and be fine with taking a back step or staying even, or would you look to go up from here?
You always got to look to go up every
So
time you're in
you're
transition.
okay. So BA is no different. I mean, that's exactly where we're at. BA is looking at it saying, "Hey, I'm seeing what my peers are getting paid.
Mhm.
I know what I'm worth. This is what I want." And it doesn't matter. Yes, it's to us, it's life-changing money, but I also can
Mhm.
guarantee you the however much he's already made to us is a lot of money. But if we were in these negotiations, we would be wanting more money too. It's all
Mhm.
you always want more. You're always looking for the next pivot. And if 18-year-old Jesse was looking at the money that 40-year-old Jesse is making, he would be in shock at how much he's pulling down. But you know what? 40-year-old Jesse wants more than what he makes now. I always want more,
Okay. All
right?
right.
And that's the way that
So
this works.
I
That's
hear
life.
that, and I'll raise you this. The market is the market is juxtaposed on a raw list of players and what they get. All right. Now, what these players get is how the market is set up, right? So you have a list of players that are attached to certain teams, and the market isn't necessarily set on utilization. The market isn't set on numbers. The market is set on what teams have to pay at the time versus what that player means to that team, right? So there's no such thing as Justin Jefferson going into the Vikings and saying, hey, man, these are my numbers. And because I literally hit this amount of yards and this amount of touchdowns and I have this amount of yak, right? There's some type of rubric that we can put this into that spits out why I deserve this number. That's not the way contracts work. The way they work, and I'm not, forgive me for talking like as if you don't know,
Yeah, yeah.
Jesse. I'm
No,
sorry,
no, I
but
got you.
but but I just wanted to check myself. But really, the reason why these guys are getting the money that they're getting is that because it's the context of what this player means to the organization. And that's what gets lost is Justin Jefferson's getting paid $34 million is not just because he's one of the best receivers in the league. It's because he's the best player on his team. Okay? And it's not close, all right? And he's a leader on his team. And he's on a team that doesn't have a entrenched starter at quarterback. And on top of it, he's on a team that just lost. Is Jess still here? Hold on. We got to see what happened to Jesse. And he's on top of a team that just lost their quarterback and Kirk Cousins, a veteran player. So you have to ask yourself, man, like, what is exactly the market when you can look at certain guys and say, all right, well, I deserve a certain amount of money based on what Justin Jefferson got or based on what this player got. And as we can keep going lower, right? As we can keep going lower into the situation, then oh, now all of a sudden this is where I lie. Like it doesn't work that way, right? The money that these guys get off rip is because of the context and what they mean to their team. So now all of a sudden we can't use context when it's time for BA to get paid, right? All of a sudden everything gets binary, right? I feel like it's just being a dishonest broker, honestly, right? Everything becomes binary when it's time for BA to get paid. We don't want to use context, but it's like, wait a minute. The market was started on context. There's no way that you could black and white prove why Justin Jefferson deserves that money. You cannot, right? The only way that you can quantify why he deserves that money is because you do a qualitative analysis, right? There's a quantitative analysis and a qualitative analysis. A quantitative analysis is based off the numbers and the sums of the situation that give you actual facts, raw numbers. But then there's a quantitative analysis where you have to look at the quantity of exactly. I mix that up. Qualitative is quality. Quantitative is quantity. Quantity is the numbers that give the situation. Qualitative is the quality, the context, what it means, what the actual worth is. And that's the part of the assessment that BA wants to stay away from. He wants to quantitate, oh, well, Justin Jefferson got paid this money, right? AJ Brown got paid this money. Devontae Smith got paid this money. But that's the quantitative analysis, BA. And you want to stay with the numbers because you don't want to get to the qualitative analysis. What is your quality to this team? What is the actual context where we can bear out how you get paid? And I think he's missing that. I really do.
See, but I don't think that he necessarily is. I think that both things can be true. And this is what I've been trying to convey to you on the shows that we've done. And I feel like maybe I haven't done a good job at it. And I'm going to take another stab here. I feel like both things can be true at the same time. I
All
think
right.
BA can be right, and I think the 49ers can be right. I think BA is absolutely right in the fact that he is worth the 30 million or whatever I'm sure he's requesting. It's not, I highly doubt that BA is so naive that he's asking for Justin Jefferson money, right? I think he knows exactly where he stands, and I'm sure his agent would keep him grounded in that. Hey, listen, we're not going to get that anywhere else. Just like a real estate agent always is there to set you straight. Hey, I know that you want 500,000 for your house. It's worth 450. We'll start
Right.
at 470 and we'll go down to 450 or 440 or whatever, but as your real estate agent, listing it at 500 is only